Thank you very much to once again to welcome you to Business Studies Grade 10, Term 4 Preparations and Revision, whereby today I want us to look at the Business Studies Grade 10. I want us to look at Business Studies Grade 10, Term 4, whereby we are going to do what? Business Studies Grade 10, Paper 2. We're going to look at the Business Studies Paper 2, Final Exam. As you know for sure that this time we are trying by all means to make sure that we are very fit, well prepared for final examinations that we are going to sit on. So as we are saying now, this is for grade 10. So grade 10, make sure that you are going to be together from the start of this presentation to the end of it. So this question paper was written in Northwest Provincial Government in 2024, November 2024. That is that. As you know, that is paper 2, Business Studies paper 2, grade 10. So total marks is 150, and you are to take 2 hours on this paper. So let's quickly go to the instructions and information. Here we are on instructions and information. Read the following instructions carefully before answering the questions. The first instruction, the question paper consists of 3 sections and covers 2 main topics. And section A is compulsory. So it is a must for us to attend to section A, as it says what? It's a compulsory section. Section B consists of how many? 3 questions. Answer any 2 questions of the 3 questions in this section, which is section B. But for us, as we are trying to make sure that you're going to prepare to make a thorough preparation for the final examination of term 4, we are going to attend to all questions in this question paper, which is Business Studies Grade 10 and paper 2. Section C now, it consists of 2 questions. It consists of how many? 2 questions, and then we are to answer what? 1 questions of the 2 questions in this section. But like I've said, as you're going to answer all the questions in this question paper, it means even on section C, we are going to attend to those 2 questions in section C as to make us prepared for the upcoming examination. Now let's come to the instruction 2. Instruction number 2, read the instructions for each question carefully and take note of what is required. That is a very important instruction. Read instructions for each question carefully so that you can understand what the question wants and take note what is required from that question. That is very important so that you cannot lose marks easily because you didn't understand what the instruction on that question. Then we give a note. Note that only answers to the first question selected in section B and the answers to the first question selected in section C will be marked. So the first questions are the ones that are going to be marked. That is that. Number the answers correctly. Make sure that you answer the answers correctly according to the number system used in this question paper. No marks will be awarded for answers that are numbered incorrectly. Many students lose marks because of what? Of the numbering. Please make sure that you are not going to make a mistakes of incorrectly numbering the questions. Thank you very much for that. Instruction number 4, except where instructions are given, answers must be written in full sentences. Use mark allocation nature of each question to determine the length and the depth, the length and depth an answer. So here is our instruction number 6. Use the table below as a guide mark and time allocation when answering each question. As we can see now, we have what? Section. So as we can see now, we have so we are going to use the table below as a guide for mark time allocation when answering each question. So here is what a table that we are going to use. As we can see now that our table have section, there's question number, there's marks, and also the duration, minutes that you have to take on each section. So try by all means that you are going to go through this table that because it is very helpful. Now let us go straight to the instruction number 7. Begin the answer to each question on a new page. Very important instruction. Each question must be started on a new page. For example, question 1 on a new page, question 2 on a new page. Simple as like that. You see how we sometimes lose the marks because of not going through the instruction. Because of what? Not trying by all means to understand the instruction. They are very important because as well, the instructions can earn you marks. Instruction number 8, you may use non-programmable calculator. Instruction 9, which is very important as well, write neatly and legible. So if your handwriting is horrible, that can as well lose you marks, whereas you know the answers. But because of your answers are written in such a way that are not clear for the examiner, that is where your problem is going to be. When you are writing the examination, make sure that you're going to impress your examiner. So writing neatly as well as nearly legibly also is very important for people. So without wasting much time, let us go to now section A. So here we are now on section A, which you know very well that is compulsory. The instruction said it. So now we are going to start with what? Question 1. 1.1. Various options are provided as possible answers to the following questions. Choose the answer and write the letter AD to the next question numbers 1.1.1 to 1.1.5 in the answer book. Then we are given example 1.1.6D. So it shows that this is what? A multiple questions. This is multiple questions. So with multiple questions, you're going to choose the best answer for these 4 given possible answers. For these 4 options. For these 4 options, we are to come up with what? The correct answer. Let us not waste time and attend to these multiple choice questions. The name of state-owned company ends with letters. That is that. Now we want to know what is the correct answer for that 1.1. So now you have to choose the best question out of the 4 options that we are given. So we're given PT Lee Ltd, Ltd, Inc, SOC Ltd. So the correct answer is D, SOC Ltd, which means what? State-owned company suffix. Company suffix. So that is that. So the examples that falls under this state-owned company that ends with letters like this one, we can talk of Eskom, Transnet. They are also fall under state-owned company suffix. So that is state-owned company. So the state-owned company ends with letters of this SO, SC, limited company. Let us not waste time and go to 1.12. 1.2 read as follows. Dash now are designed to collect information from people in writing about their attitudes, preference, level of knowledge, personalities, and beliefs. So same as 1.1.1, we are given what? 4 options, and we have to choose what? The best answer out of this given 4 options, and the correct answer there on 1.12 is B, questionnaires. Is what? Questionnaires. A questionnaire is what? That is a research. That is a research tool used to collect data through. It is used to collect what? Data. Through what? Through questionnaires. Through what? Through questionnaires. So the correct answer is what? Questionnaires. That is that. So let us move on to 1.1.3, an example of verbal presentation. An example of what? Verbal presentation. So we are given 4 options like the 2 other that we treated, like delivering a speech in front of an audience, sending a business report via email, giving handouts at the start of meeting, putting a poster with a newly updated laws on the all. And the correct answer there is A. A is the correct answer, delivering a speech in front of an audience. We know very well that when we are delivering a speech in front of an audience, we are preparing fully. It's because we know our audience. It's because you are engaging visuals. Also, we practice confident delivery. So the correct answer is what? It's delivering a speech in front of an audience. Let us move on, guys. Let us be on 1.14. 1.14. The dash technique links key concepts using images and lines to a central concept. So we are given Delphi, brainstorm, nominal to mind mapping. So we want to know which is the correct technique that we can use. And the correct technique is what? It's a mind mapping. As you know that a mind mapping is a visual tool for mind mapping. So mind mapping is a visual tool for brainstorm, organizing, and visualizing relationships. That is why we have to go for this as the best answer. Hope you're still on one page. Hope we are still understanding each other. Good people, great hands. Let us now attend to 1.15, an initiative to address inclusivity in the workplace. Meaning we are talking about what? Diversity in the workplace. Like at questions, we are given 4 options and we have to choose the correct answer out of the 4 given. And the correct answer is C. Management should educate workers on the benefits of diversity in the workplace. Like I've said, whenever we are talking about inclusivity in the workplace, we are talking about diversity in the workplace. We are talking about what? Diversity in the workplace. We are talking about diversity in the work. That is where we are seeing our correct answer is C. Because diversity in the workplace is going to benefit us with what? Innovation, better decision making, enhanced reputation, improved employee engagement. So that is that. Now let us move on without wasting any time. Let us be on 1.2 now. 1.2, complete the following statements by using the words provided in the list below, which is this list. Write only the word next to the question number 1.21 to 1.25 in the answer book. So here is the list that we're given. Here is the list that we're given. Gameplay, shareholders, vision, potential market, mission, target market, flip chart, crime, data projector, as well as what? Directors. So now let us go to 1.21, where now we want to look at these statements that are given and then see the correct word that is going to fit in the missing word. 1.21. Dash refers to where business assesses itself in the future. Now we are on 1.21. Dash refers to where the business sees itself in the future. Once it talks about the future, that's when we know that vision now is the correct answer. Vision. Vision refers to where the business sees itself in the future. Vision. We know when we are talking about a vision, we are talking about an inspiring statement outlining an organizational long-term goals and desired future state. Hopefully, we are together great. Let us move on to 1.22. A non-profit company's managers are called what? A non-profit company's managers are called what? That is 1.22. That is board of directors. And then you can look of what? Board of directors here. They are called what? 1.21, if I'm not mistaken. 1.22. Sorry for that. 1.22. So the correct answer is directors. Those are board of directors. So directors are the correct answers. As you know that when you're talking of directors or board of directors, you're talking about a group of individuals elected or appointed to oversee and make strategic decisions for an organization. That is that, good people. Let us move on to 1.23. Offering financial literacy to your workers is a possible initiative for address. Now we want to know the correct answer there, which is there in the given list. And that is what? Gambling. 1.23. Do we have gambling here? Yes, we have gambling. This one you've said it's product of triangle. So here's our gambling. So we're going to write what? Gambling. Offering financial literacy to your workers is a possible initiative to address what? Gambling. That is 1.23. Betting or wagering money or something of value on an event with a certain outcome often involved. So that is what we're saying. Offering financial literacy to our workers is a possible initiative to address gambling. 1.24. Dash now can be used when presenting to a small group of people. Now we're talking about what? Flip chart. We're talking about flip chart. A flip chart, that is a visual presentation tool consisting of a large pad of paper, often used for brainstorming, note taking, presenting what? The information. Let us move on to 1.25. The dash is a specific group of customers at which company aims to sell its products and services. That is what? A target market. Do we have target market here? Yes, we have target market. So here it is what? A target market. As we know, when you're talking about a target market, you're talking about a specific group of consumers or business that an organization aims to serve, often divided by demographics, needs, or behaviors. That is that. So now let us move on. Now we are on 1.3. We are on 1.3. With 1.23, we are talking about matching questions. We are talking about matching questions. That is all about matching questions. So 1.3, choose the description from column B that matches a term in column A. Description in column B that matches what? A term in column A. Write only letter AG next to the question number 1.31 to 1.35 in the answer book. For example, 1.36K. So here we are on our matching question. Here we are on our matching question. So 1.31, which is column A, as we know, column A is what? Is the term. We are given this term 1.31, executive office. So we want to know the description that is going to match this term. So the description that is going to match this term in 1.31, it's I. Let's see I. As we can see now, I says executive officer is part of top management, the highest level of hierarchy in a team. So when you're talking about executive now officer, we are talking about the high-ranking manager responsible for making strategic decisions and overseeing the operations within what? Within an organization. Within an organization. So the correct answer there is I. That is I. Let us move on to 1.32. 1.32 talks about what? Initiative to address unemployment. That is 1.32. And 1.232, you can see that the correct answer is C. The business should provide skills development program through learnerships. Through learnership. That is how we are going to address unemployment initiatives. So C is the correct answer. C is a correct answer because addressing unemployment initiatives, that is where we're going to do what? Skills training programs, job creation schemes, entrepreneurship support, education and vocational training. That is that. As easy as like that. Let us come to 1.33, limited liability. 1.33. So with limited liability, let us go through the description that matches this item. The description that matches item 1.33 is J. That is G. Limited liability. Shareholders may only lose the capital they invested to pay for debts of the business, meaning they are not going to lose their private properties if ever the business go bankrupt. So the correct answer is what? Is G. That is that. The correct answer is G. The correct answer is G. The correct answer is G for 1.33. whereby we are talking about what? Limited liability. We know very well limited liability. That is a legal protection that limits an individual's financial responsibility for business debts to the investment. Shift in personal assets. Let me not waste time and come to 1.34, interactive whiteboard. Interactive whiteboard. 1.34. So the correct answer there is D. When you're talking about interactive whiteboard, that is an expensive type of visual aid that requires the use of electricity. The correct answer is D. D is correct answer. We know when you're talking about interactive whiteboard, you're talking about a touch sensitive display that allows users to interact with digital content, often used for presentation, teaching, and collaboration. That is that, good people. 1.35, ladies and gentlemen of high society. Now we are coming to force field analysis. When you're talking about force field analysis, we're talking about a decision-making tool that identifies driving, restraining forces affecting a situation of change, helping to develop strategies to achieve goals. So now let us look at the description that matches this item, force field analysis. That is A, because A says a technique used to look at driving and restraining forces. So A is a correct answer. Hope we are together with this matching questions. So now let us move on, ladies and gentlemen of higher society. Now we are moving on to section B. Now we are moving on to section B. So section B, as you still remember the instructions that were given before we can attend to these questions, you know very well that we are asked to answer any 2 questions in this section. And I've said it that as we are going to answer them all. So note now, clearly indicate question number of each question that you chose. The answer to each question must start on a new page, e.g. question 2 on a new page, question 3 on a new page. So here we are on question 2. Here we are on question 2, where we are going to talk about business ventures. So we are on business ventures. So now let us attend to the questions under question 2. 2.1. Name any 4 types of what? Cooperatives. Name any 4 types of cooperatives. Let's quickly go to the answers. Let's quickly go to the answers without wasting much time. So here we are on answers, question 2.1. It says types of cooperatives. Then it talks about housing cooperatives. The housing cooperatives, this is where we are talking about where members come together to provide affordable housing for themselves. When you're talking about this housing cooperatives, we're talking about where members come together to provide affordable housing for themselves. Let's give an example to make it more clearer and clearer. A group of people build or buy apartments together and share ownership and maintenance cost. That's when we're talking about housing cooperatives. Let us move on to where it says worker cooperative. Worker cooperative. Worker cooperative, what it simply says is that owned and managed by employees who share profits and decision making. It is owned and managed by employees who share profits and decision making. Let us make it more easier to us good people who create tense by making an example. A printing company owned by its workers, where all members share income and vote on business decision. Hope you're still on one page, good people. Now it further on says social cooperative or social cooperative. Social cooperative aims now. It aims to serve community or social needs such as helping the elderly or disabled. For example, an organization that provides home care services for senior citizens. That is that. That is how easy it is. Let us move on. And now let us come to agricultural cooperative. We've got agricultural cooperative. This is formed by farmers to process, market, or buy supplies collectively, reducing cost and improving, for example, farmers pooling resources to buy equipment or sell their produce together. Let us move to cooperative burial society. Cooperative burial society. Now it is as well types of what? Cooperatives. Consumer cooperative. With consumer cooperative, we know very well that this one, it is owned by customers who buy goods or services from cooperative at a fair prices. Example, a retail store where members get discounts and share profits. That is that. And now we come to financial service cooperative. This one offers financial products like loans, savings to its members. Example, a credit union that provides low interest loans to its members. That's what we mean. Also, you have what? Transport cooperative. With transport cooperative, provide affordable and as well as reliable transport. For example, a retail store where members get discounts and a transport cooperative. Sorry. With this one, transport cooperative, it provides affordable and reliable transport service to its members, like I've said, or community. Example, it takes or bus drivers forming a cooperative to share vehicles and profits. So that is that. That is 2.1, where you are to get what? 4 marks. Because here you were asked only to list them. So as we are given also a further explanation, if ever you are asked to explain them, now it will be easy for you to give explanations. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of higher society, now let us move on to question 2.2. Here we are on question 2.2. The outline characteristics of sole trader. Let us quickly go through the questions. Here we are on questions of 2.2, characteristics of sole trader. Characteristics of sole trader. Owner can sell the business to anyone at any time. Meaning to say the owner has a full control. Owner has full control. Yeah? Owner has full control and can decide. Owner has full control and the owner can decide to sell or transfer the business freely. That is that. There are no legal requirements regarding the name of the business. Meaning to say the owner can choose any business's name without strict registration rules. That is that. Also, it is easy to establish. As there are no legal formalities in the forming of business. Easy to establish. It is very simple and inexpensive to start since few formalities are required. So the sole traders are not compelled by law to audit financial statements. So meaning to say the owner does not need to have financial records officially audited. That is that, good people. The owner has personal interest in the management and the services that is rendered. That is that as well. Where we are talking about what? personal interest in the management and service that is rendered. The owner has a personal interest. The owner has unlimited liability, and all the owner is personally liable for the debt of the business. As we know, in sole trader, the owner has unlimited liability, meaning to say the owner is personally responsible for all business debts or losses. If the business go through that challenges of debts or losses, simple says the owner is responsible for that. A sole trader has a limited company for expansion and lacks continuity existence. Meaning to say, we are saying there is no continuity. The business ends if the owner dies or becomes unable to run it. That's what this statement is all about. The business has no legal personality and therefore has no continuity. Continuity depends on the life and health of the owner. So it simply talks about the previous, simply talks about the statement that we have already talked about. The owner provides capital from his or her savings, borrow money from the bank. What it means is that owner provides capital. All the money needed to start or run a business comes from the owner. That is what this statement simply says. The owner has personal interest in the management and the service that is delivered. That is as well as simple as that. The owner is the one who has personal interest in the management and the service that is profit is added to the interest of the owner taxable income. Meaning to say profit is added to the interest in the management and service delivered. What this means is that the owner keeps all profits and reward as all the profits as a reward for managing and providing what services. There are no special requirements when the owner wants to close the business. So it means it is easy for the manager to close the business. So these are the answers for characteristics of sole trader. Any relevant answers related to characteristics of a sole trader is acceptable. Let us move on to 2.3. Here we are to 2.3. 2.3 reads as follows. Differentiate between private and personal liability company. So here we are on 2.3, and here we are on the answers on 2.3. 2.3, we know the question says we are to differentiate between private and personal liability company. So here are the answers that are given. With private company, the name ends with proprietary Ltd. Directors are not personally liable for debts of the business. That is the private company. If the business has debts, the directors are not personally liable. What we now personal liability company, the name ends with what? NC, and directors are personally liable for the debts of the business. If there are debts in the business or in the company, so directors are liable. So it means they are going to as well pay for those debts. That is that. Let us go to question 2.4. Good people. 2.4. Now we are on 2.4. 2.4, read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. Read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. Here we are on our scenario, Primex Stores APS. Susan is a marketing manager at the Primex Stores. She made a presentation to the board of directors. She distributed hard copies of the sales figures to them before the start of the presentation. That is done. Now let us get to 2.4. The questions that follows this scenario, which start with 2.4, identify visual aids that Susan used during her presentation. Visual aids. We are now on visual aids. Here we are on visual aids. Visual aids from the scenario handouts. Let us prove it. Let us go to scenario and prove it. That is handouts. Susan is a marketing manager. She made a presentation to the board of directors. She distributed hard copies. Once it says she distributed hard copies, it means these are what? These are handouts. These are handouts. So hopefully you understand. Prove that. Now let us go to 2.42. 2.42, we've said here these are the handouts because we have said she distributed what? Hard copies. So now 2.42, advise PS, which is Primex stores, on the importance of graphs, diagrams, symbols, pictures. Advise them on the importance of these graphs, diagrams, symbols, and pictures. Let's quickly go to the answers. Here we are. The importance of what? Graphs, diagrams, and symbols and or pictures. Graphs and diagrams, symbols or pictures are visual aids that help a reader or audience see what you are talking about. So these ones are visual. What you're talking about can be seen in a business report or when giving a presentation. So this can be seen. That is the importance of that. Graphs are more likely to be used to present data in a form that is easy for the reader or in audience to understand. It will be easy for audience to understand because they can see what you are talking about. It's visual. Diagrams, symbols, and pictures is what you can see, and that will make it easy for audience to understand. Images or diagrams typically used to explain concepts and theories. So the theories, your theoretical presentation can be further be explained by what? Diagrams, symbols, and pictures. Good people, ladies and gentlemen of high society, hopefully we are still together. Hopefully we are on one page as we speak. Let me move on to another point. Visual aids are items such as graphs, pictures used in addition to spoken and written information. So your written information or the spoken words, the visual aids such as graphs, they add on what you've said theoretically. Also fed on, they help to add context to a presentation, makes it more interesting for the audience. So those visual diagrams, symbols, they make your presentation more interesting and your audience are going to follow you. Graphs, diagrams, symbols, pictures help to organize information more clearly, so they make it easy for our audience to understand. Any relevant answers related to the importance of graphs, diagrams, or symbols and pictures are accepted. Let us not waste time, good people, and then move on to another question. Now, wait, as we are on to, we did discuss factors that must be considered when preparing verbal presentation. We also read what the Primex stores. Now it means, we are on 2.5. Discuss factors that must be considered when preparing verbal presentation. 2.5. Let us attempt to put 2.5, good people. Here we are on 2.5. Factors that must be considered when preparing for verbal presentation. So now we are on the factors that must be considered when preparing for a verbal presentation. Remember, with a verbal presentation that you are going to present by means of what? Words. So factors that you have to consider. The first one, write down the purpose of the presentation and list the objectives. So you have to write down the purpose of presentation. What is this presentation all about? What is this presentation going to achieve? What are the objectives? That is that. Consider the audience. So when you're doing the presentation, that is a very important factor that to consider the audience. Who are they? What do they already know? And what you want them to know? That is very important. Consider the audience. The audience are very important. Who are the audience? What do they already know? And what you as a as a presenter, what do you want them to know? Very important. Prepare the structure of your presentation, e.g. the introduction, body, and conclusion. So make sure that you're going to have a very interesting introduction. Make sure that you're going to capture the very important points early in your introduction, and make sure that your body as well is very important, is very enriched, and conclude very well. Moving on, be fully conversant with the content of your presentation. Know your topics. Do a thorough research. Go and research so that you have content of your presentation. That is very important. Create a visual aids that will assist in getting points across effectively memorable. So make use of what your visual aids so that they can support your presentation, so that they can make sure that your audience are going to understand your presentation. Practice the presentation and time your presentation. Rehearse your presentation. Make sure that you prepare for your presentation and make sure that your presentation is timelessly. That is why we're saying time your presentation. Practice in front of someone who will provide honest opinion on the purpose and objectives of presentation. While you are preparing, make sure your preparation is very practical. Practice before someone has to make sure that you're going to be well prepared. Information to be presented should be relevant and accurate. Make sure that the presentation or the information that you're going to come up with is relevant to the topic. Don't be out of topic. Have a pre-knowledge of your audience to determine the proper visual aids. Know your audience. If you're going to present to youths, if you're going to present to the elder people, that will help you to come up with the correct visual aids with people. Have that pre-knowledge. Visit venue and ensure that visual aids. Visit venue and ensure that visual aid the use of your equipment, availability of generator in case of load shedding or electricity. So make sure that you are going to prior visit what the venue so as to know the equipment that you're going to use. Prepare your support material to enhance your presentation. So if you are to make use of handouts, so make sure that you prepare them. Prepare the feedback session by anticipating possible questions and comment. Allow for that session where your audience are going to ask questions and to make comments. So any relevant answer related to factors must be considered when preparing for verbal presentation. That is that. So now let us move on to 2.6. Good people. So here we are on 2.6. And 2.6 read as follows. Read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. Maria Pisa, MP. Maria wants to start a new pizza business. She does not know where to start, and friends advise her to draw up what you call a business plan. So the first question that falls after this scenario is that state any four components of the business plan. That is 2.61. State any four components of what? Of a business plan. Let us attend to that question. Let us attend to that question. Here we are on 2.6, whereby we are going to talk about business plan, components of business plan. The first one is cover page. We know when you're talking about cover page, we're talking about what? Company logo, name in the entrance, contact info. That is that when you're talking about what? Cover page. Our cover page should have what? Company logo. Should have company logo, name, address, and as well as contact information. Contact info. That will be about the cover page. Also, contents page or index. Content page. With contents page, that's when we're talking about page numbers. We're talking about what? Page numbers. We are also talking about section headings. Section headings. That is that. Now, executive summary also is a component of business plan. When you're talking about the executive summary, we're talking about brief overview. We're talking about brief overview of business goods, mission, products, or services. Let us make it more clear on executive summary with example. Or like we've said, that is a business goals, mission, products, or services. Already you've made the what example. Now let us move on to description of business overview. When reading about description of business overview, we're talking about business structure, the history, the mission statements of the business. Also moving on, SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So with strength, we're talking about unique product or skilled employee internally, because you know strengths are found internally as well as weakness. So weakness, you're talking about limited resource, new market. If there is a new market, it's going to challenge you. If you have limited resources as well, that is a weakness in the business. Opportunities now, which are found externally outside the business. Growing demand, or when you want to make what partnership with other organization or with someone, that is an opportunity. But with threats also, which is found externally and which is very negative as well, because you know opportunity is positive externally outside the business. But with threats, competition, if there's a competition, people are going to enter into the market that you are into, that becomes negative. Regulatory changes, new laws and stuff like that also can affect the business. Now coming to legal requirements of the business. With legal requirements, we're talking about the licensing, payments, registration, that is that. Marketing plan. With marketing plan, we're talking about a target market, where we're going to talk about the demographics, the needs, marketing strategies, social media, advertising, sales projections. That is what all these are what your marketing plans. Operational plan now. The operational plans. Operational what? Plan. Operational plan. With this operational plan, we're talking about production processes, supply chain management, logistics, and distribution that you're going to make use of. Now coming to financial plan. With financial plan, now we're talking about what? Revenue projections, expense breakdown, cash flow forecast. That is that. Now coming to management, what? The management plan also is very important. because with management, when we're going to talk about organizational structure, key personal roles, human resource management. But now moving on to competitor analysis, that is when we're talking about competitor planning. Competitor analysis, marketing position, competitive strategies. So that is all about what? 2.61. When we're talking about the components of the business plan, hope we are together, good people. Now we are coming to 2.7. 2.7 says describe protocol for conducting material research. Let me start. We're talking about the protocol. We're talking about the protocol for conducting research. So now let us go straight to the answers. So here we are on the protocol of research. The protocol for conducting research. Protocol for conducting research. Protocol for conducting research. So it says the researcher must obtain consent or permission from the participant before interview take place. So the researcher must obtain consent, permission from the participant before interview take place. So you must be permitted first before you can start with what? The interview. The researcher must first be approved if it is taking place within an organization. So you have to wait for approval. If it is taking place within the organization internally, wait for the approval. If a face-to-face interview is to be conducted, prior arrangements must be made for the participant convenience. That is that. So the person conducting the research should not influence the opinions of the participant. Don't influence them. Don't influence the opinions, views of the participant. You as the conductor of the research. The researcher must start by introducing himself, like your name, your educational background, where you come from, like tell about your profile as a researcher. Interview or respondent need to be told that their names will not be mentioned if that is what they want. So you show what the confidentiality that interview respondents need to be told. Tell them, those interviewed respondents, that their names will not be mentioned in. That is what they want. So that they will feel free to participate. Interview or respondents must be informed about the purpose and intentions of the interview. So the purpose of the interview is very important, and that should be said to the interviews or the respondent. So that is very important. Interview or respondent should be informed about the duration of the interview. So we're talking about the time that is allocated for the interview, so that the interview or respondent should make sure that they are going to respond within the allocated time. Good people, that is very important. Information collected from participants should be kept confidential. So let it not be disclosed. That is very important. Interview should be free. Interviewee should be free to reviews to answer a particular question. So it gives what the interview to be free to refuse answer to a particular question. You can refuse it. You must be free to refuse, deny it, object it. That is that. The responses should not be used for any purpose other than the market research being conducted. So those responses that are given by the interview or respondent, let it be used for the related research. Research findings must be reported accurately, not used to mislead any person that is done. Ensure that research is within ethical standards. Very important. of the industry, obtain clearance from relevant persons or duties. Any relevant answer related to the protocol for conducting research are acceptable. So let us move on to 2.8. Question 2.8. With the last question for question 2. 2.8 readers force advise business on the importance of assessing the desires in identify business opportunity. Let us go to our responses or answers. Here we question 2.8. Yeah, 2.8. Here we are on 2.8. The importance of assessing needs, desires in identifying a business opportunity. Needs and desires are keys to successful business opportunities. So needs are the ones that can allow the business to grow, allow the business to develop. Once we attend to the needs of the market, that shows that you are responding to the market positively. Entrepreneurs should create the desire for product through a well-designed advertising and marketing campaign. Make sure that your marketing campaign, your advertising should create a desire for the potential customers so that they can respond, take action. That is that. Needs and desires form guarantee a possible market. So the needs and desires, they guarantee what a possible market that now you're going to operate, now you're going to be able to function in the market. When people have needs and desires that are not fulfilled, then a business opportunity is presented to fulfill those needs and desires. Any relevant answers linked to the importance of assessing needs and desires in identifying business opportunity is acceptable. Good people, let us not waste time and go to question 3. Here we are on our question 3, business rules. First question says, name any 4 steps of problem solving. Name any 4 steps of problem solving. Let us go to our answers. Question 3. Here we are on our question 3. We're talking about steps in problem solving, the problem solving cycle. First one, we identify the problem. Find out what the issue is. With identifying problem, we are trying to find what, we are finding out what the issue is. The issues, for example, let's say the sales are dropping, as an example. So that is the problem that we are finding out. Define the problem. State the problem clearly. With defining problem now here, you state the problem. State the problem clearly. For example, sales drop because customers are unhappy with the product quality. That is that. Formulate a strategy now. So when you formulate a strategy, you plan how to fix the problem. That is what you plan how to fix the problem. You plan how to fix a problem. For example, improve product quality. Like, the problem is a product quality, and that is a problem why our customers are unhappy. So now we formulate a strategy. You improve product quality and train what? Your staff. Now choose the best strategy or solution. Choose the best strategy or solution. Select the most effective option. You select the most effective option. Effective option. So by selecting the most effective option, that is when you upgrade materials, you add quality checks. That is that. Allocate resources now. So now you allocate what sources. You implement the strategy, you monitor the problem solving, you evaluate the problem solving process. So in a relevant as to the problem solving, cycles is acceptable. Good So now we are on 3.2. Outline the advantages of creative thinking. Outline the advantages of creative thinking. That is that. Outline the advantages of creative thinking. Advantages of creative thinking. First, it says creative thinking improves quality solutions of the business. Improve quality of solutions, like they say, it improves quality of solutions. So it means it leads to better ways of solving business problems. For example, using eco-friendly packaging to attract customers. So we are improving quality of solutions to our problem. Also, products and services can be marketed creatively. Products and services can be marketed creatively. That is the advantage of creative thinking. It also stimulates profitable new ideas for products, marketing campaign, and public relations. Meaning to say it encourages what? Innovation for products or service. For example, creating a mobile app for online orders. That is that. Managers can come up with creative strategies for business. Managers can come up with creative strategies for business. Also, that they can come up with what? Quality strategies, quality views for the business. Employees can think for themselves and come up with creative solutions because you have allowed them to come up with their ideas. Now they can freely come up with what? Creative solutions. Also, it motivates employees and improves their skill, resulting in a happy workforce. Workers feel built when their ideas are heard. That's that. Improves productivity and reduces voluntary turnover. So it's going to improve what? Creative thinking improves what? Productivity. Creative public relations strategies can be designed and implemented That is that. Also help business to respond to the threat of competition and remain leaders in the field. So it means you're not going to run away from or run out of the market. When you are using what? A creative thinking, you can respond to challenges that comes up with competition, intense competition. You can respond there by trying by all means to come up with what? A competitive advantage. Meaning it is going to be easy for you to be toward a competition with what? With unique ideas. With unique ideas. Unique ideas keep the business ahead. That is that. Helps the business to provide its clients with best possible products or service, which improves client loyalty, which improves what? Client loyalty. This will lead the development for better methods of production to save on cost. It also allows business to extend their range of services, like offering better customer services or credit facility. That's how the creative thinking comes up with the positive. With positive, new products or services can be designed to meet changing needs of customers. Managers can motivate and manage staff in creative ways to get best pay. A new relevant answer related to that one is creative thinking is acceptable. Now let us move on to another question. 3.3. So 3.3, we are given what scenario? Read the scenario below. Answer the questions that follow. Sunshine Sweets. Sunshine Sweets wants to change some of the products. The marketing team asks the employee to suggest new ideas aloud in a large group. So the manager of SS, which is Sunshine Sweets, asks the experts to make suggestions by means of questionnaire. These ideas were used to inspire new thoughts. So now here are our questions that follow. Identify the problem-solving techniques by Sunshine Suites in the scenario above and motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario. By quoting from the scenario. So here we are with our answers. Here we are with our answers. 3.3, as you have problem-solving techniques and so as motivation. So we have brainstorming. The marketing team asks the employees to suggest new ideas allowed in a large group. Let us try to confirm this from the scenario that is given. The marketing team, here it is, the marketing team asks the employees to suggest new ideas allowed in a group. So that is a brainstorming. So we have tried to motivate it. Also, we have Delphi technique. The manager of SS also expects to make suggestions by means of questionnaire. Let us prove it from the scenario that is given, how we came up with Delphi technique. The manager of Sunshine should also ask the experts. If we are asking the experts to make suggestions by means of questionnaire, it means that is a Delphi technique. It means as a business, we don't have a previous data. We are not experienced. That is why now we are going for the experts. And that is what Delphi technique. We together on that. That is what motivation. This is our motivation one, where we are talking about the brainstorm. And this is our motivation two, when we're talking about Delphi technique. This one is brainstorm. And this one is what? Delphi technique, where we are making use of a expect. So we have said this one is brainstorming. This one is the Delphi technique. So this is our motivation one, where we are talking about the manager team asks the employees to suggest new ideas allowed in as a group. And our motivation two, that is where the manager of SS also ask expect to make what suggestion. Hope we are together on that. Let us move on to 3.32. 3.32. Describe to assess how to apply one of the problem-solving technique identified in question 2.1 above. In 2.1 above. In 3.1 above. So now let us come to this. Let us come to the answers. So with this one, as you can see here, you're going to mark these tools. The answer does not have to be tabular form and stuff like that. So let me do like this. 0.23. Now we are on application of brainstorming. If you are to go through brainstorming, or if you are going to go for Delphi technique. So that is that. So if you are to go for Delphi technique, because these are the answers that we gave from 3.31. So if we are going for brainstorming technique, the problem must be defined clearly. What needs to be solved. So here we state what needs to be solved. What needs to be solved. Meaning to say how to increase customers' loyalty. Let's say that as an example. All ideas must be written on a flip chart. So meaning to say we have to record all ideas. Meaning to say we have to record all ideas. So write every idea on a board or flip chart. That is that. The facilitator must encourage everyone to participate and ensure that no one criticizes any suggestion. Encourage everyone to join. With this one, you're saying encourage everyone to join. Encourage everyone to join. encourage everyone to join. That is that. Everyone share ideas freely. You allow everyone to share ideas freely. When the time is up, no one has any more ideas, and the sheets with suggestions are hanging around the room. That is when now the group and evaluate ideas, combine similar ideas and choose the best. Similar ideas are grouped together using colored pen. That is what we have already talked about. Also, the group evaluates ideas and rates them according to how successful they think each idea will be. A plan of action is discussed and to put best ideas into practice. So any answers related to this brainstorming is acceptable. Now we have said now we can talk about what application, or we can talk about what application of Delphi technique, because it's what the answer for also 3.31. So with what Delphi technique, with Delphi technique, a panel of experts is invited to participate in the process. It means now we say a specialist are asked to help solve the problem. So this one is a specialist. Specialists are asked to help solve the problem. That is that. Experts do not have to be in one place and will be conducted individually. We are going to do that through what sending what questionnaires. We're going to send questionnaires. We're going to send questionnaires. That is what is done. Each expert gives opinions separately through questionnaire. That is what it means. The panelist responds to the questionnaire individually and return it to the organization. So that is that you summarize and present. Answers are combined and present for further comment. The feedback report and second set of questionnaire related to the feedback are sent to the panelist. The panelists read the feedback report and decide if they wish to change their initial ideas and suggestions to solution. That is that. They then complete the second question. The final summary and feedback report are prepared. So you summarize and present. Answers are combined and present for further comment. Now the concise as is reached and the best solution is chosen. With this one, the best solution is chosen, and after several rounds, that is that. So without wasting much time, let us move on to another question. Let us move on to another question. So now we are on 3.4. 3.4 is this rules. Suggest ways in which creative business opportunities can realistically be implemented. That is 3.4. That is 3.4. Suggest ways in which creative business opportunities can be realistically be implemented. 3.4. So now let us attend to 3.4. Here we are on 3.4. Ways in which creative business opportunities can be realistically be implemented. People have to be prepared to pay enough for the product to cover the production cost. That is that. There's to be a demand for product or services. So our products should be demanded. So that is that. Introduce the new product to consumers and educate them on how it could be useful to them, they consumers. So that's another way of in which creative business opportunity can be realistically implemented. That is how we can implement what? A realistic business opportunity. The entrepreneur must first identify a business opportunity to implement, develop a realistic action plan, plan activities to be conducted with reasonable deadlines and resources. People in the business must be identified and given tasks and activities plan. The entrepreneur must motivate the workers to implement the plan, put control measures in place to ensure that workers are implemented in the plan. So an irrelevant answer is accepted. But is that. So now we have to move on. 3.5. So here we are on 3.5. Elaborate on the meaning of interpersonal relationships in the workplace. So let's quickly attend to it. 3.5. So here we are on 3.5. The meaning of interpersonal relationships in the workplace. The meaning of interpersonal relationship in the workplace. The interpersonal relationships in the workplace refers to a strong association among individuals working together. So it means you're talking about where there is what? A healthy relationship amongst individuals. Interpersonal relationships in the workplace allows team members to share special relationship. So they work together towards one common goal. Team members build up relationship of trust, openness, understanding, and effective communication. So there will be a transparency, openness, where they will share, and this will drive a business into green pastures because of having quality team that is working together. Everyone in the business plays a role in achieving the business objectives. So that is that. So now let us move on to 3.6. Now we are on 3.6. Define the term social responsibility and give practical example. Define the term social responsibility. So here we are on 3.5. Social responsibility definition. Being social responsible means that individuals take responsibility for the effects of their behavior and lifestyle on the environment and on others. That is that. Social responsibility means that each person has a duty to act in the best interest of the environment and society as a whole, which is very important. Social responsibility means that every individual and organization can contribute towards the well-being of the community and the environment in which they live. Meaning to say they are giving back to the community. That is that. So the practical examples are as follows: home care services for senior citizens, online education programs, whereby you are trying by all means to make sure that the people in the community are going to be equipped with knowledge and skills, catering and ready-made meals, any relevant answer. So now let us move on to 3.7. 3.7. Recommend initiatives the business can take to address poverty, safe, socio-economic issues. 3.7. So here we are on 3.7, initiatives to address poverty as a socio-economic issue. Business can provide bursary to matriculants for furthering their studies or offer learnerships, or they are presenteeships for scarce skills within the organization. That is how we can address poverty. If you provide education, whereby now we're going to give bursaries, that as well can elevate what? Poverty. Develop employee skills. That is where now you enable people in the community to drive almost to be equipped with knowledge and skills so that they can be competent and be able to deliver. Invest in the young starting a small medium enterprise that can be a business competitor, buyer or supplier. So as a large organization, make sure that you're going to invest on a small, medium enterprise, SME, of which we know very well that those SME, they're going to be your competitors as well, but don't be reluctant or hesitate to invest in those small, medium enterprise. Business could also organize and encourage entrepreneurial programs for startups. In this way, they can stimulate growth in the group. So as an organization, well-established organization, make sure that you give back to the business that they're starting. Maybe you're going to give them the programs of how they can start up their business. Very important. Employees could offer their time, services through volunteer programs. These support poverty alleviation programs that are offered by the government as employees or as employers as well. Business could also upskill the employees through targeted training in the workplace. Donate money or food parcel today most any relevant answer. So that is the end of what question 3, and we have to move on to question 4. We are to move on to question 4. So now we are on question 4. Question 4, that this way we're going to talk about business ventures. We're going to talk about business ventures. Business ventures. 4.1. State any 4 types of legal requirements. Outline factors that must be considered when designing a presentation. So let us quickly attend to those questions. Here we are with our answers. Types of legal requirements of a business. So the legal requirements of business is what a trading license and permits to operate legal. So business needs a license for it to be freely operate legally. Taxation regulations, as we know that business are to pay tax. International trading, exporting and importing requirements and exchange rates. Registration fee, registration, Basic of Employment Act, Labor Relations Act, National Credit Act, Environmental Compensation Act, and patents of copyrights. So these are all the legal requirements of the business. Now, we also heard that we are to answer on the question which talks about factors that must be considered when designing a presentation. 4.2. First, the presenter should keep the following points in mind during the presentation. The presenter should keep the points in mind during the presentation, the points that he or she is going to present about. Use large, clear fonts that are easy to read so that the audience are not going to find it difficult to read from your written words. Use outline slides and keep detailed explanation for verbal presentation. Limit each slide for 5 or 6 lines. For more clear, make sure the grammar is correct, guys. That is very important as well. End with a closing message that the audience will remember. So your ending message should be the one that is going to capture the interest of our audience. Be colorful and grab attention to as well attract the audience. Be meaningful and appropriate to what you see. Okay, as we are still on the factors that must be considered when you are designing our presentation. So now we are to select a suitable background, of which is very important that we have to make sure that the background is very suitable so that it's going to allow our presentation to be very effective. And it further on says, avoid long sentences, and keep it simple so that it will be clear for our audience, so that the audience are going to get to what we are saying. Avoid also fancy decorations. So any relevant answers related to these answers are acceptable. So that is what question 4.2. So let us move on to another question. 4.3. Now 4.3 take us to the scenario now. The 4.2 now it take us to the scenario. So the scenario read as follows, whereby we are going to read about the Netflix. So the Netflix is a popular American media services provider and production company founded in 1987. So the marketing team of this Netflix completed their environmental scanning and found the following. So the Netflix is available over 190 countries and giving it a global reach. Netflix can partner with internet service providers to offer combo service, which will include both internet and Netflix subscription. Streaming services such as Disney Plus, Showmax compete for viewers' subscriptions. So the Netflix still relies heavily on licensing agreements with studios to offer popular TV shows as well as movies. So to help company diversify and attract more customers, it could explore video games and virtual reality. Netflix has over 202 million subscribers worldwide, giving it strong financial foundation and allows it to invest more content. And it also does not show any traditional adverts on its platform, limiting its advertising income potential. The online piracy impacts Netflix significantly as users can access pirate content on free. So this is the scenario, and then we are to answer the questions that follows. So 4.31, now we are to compile SWOT analysis from a given scenario. So now when we're talking about SWOT analysis, S stands for strength, W stands for weakness, as well as the opportunity and threats. So the SW, it's found internally and OT externally. So now let us quickly go to the answers and talk about the answers. So here we are on our answers now. SWOT analysis now. Here is our SWOT analysis. And we'll talk about strength and weakness that we have said they are found internally in the business. They are found internally in the business. So now we are to know what the strengths. So we are going to quote from this scenario. As it says, Netflix is available in over 190 countries, giving it a global reach. So it means now they can be able to increase their market share. If they can now reach 190 countries, so they can expand their market share, and that gives them more sales. That is their strength internally. Also, Netflix has over 222 million subscribers worldwide, giving it a strong financial foundation and allows it to invest in more content. So all what we are talking about is found there in the scenario, as we can even as well confirm it from the scenario that we just read. As we said, Netflix is available in over 190 countries. So that is the strength of this organization, giving it a global reach, as you have said. Now let us move on to the weakness which is also found internally in the business. Netflix still relies heavily on licensing agreements with studios to offer popular TV shows and movies. So they have to rely on licensing. As you know, we have to pay for licensing, and then we have to part ways with some of our profit. So that as well becomes what? As we are going to incur what the cost is. Netflix does not show any traditional adverts on its platform, limiting its advertising income potential. So if we are not showing a traditional adverts, it means we are limiting our advertising. And that is going to affect when it comes to our sales, because our sales are going to be limited, and that is going to affect or limit us to having what more profits. Now let us come to the opportunities now, which now are found externally in our business. Netflix can partner with the internet services providers to offer combo services, which will include both internet and Netflix subscription. And once they partner with internet, it means now we're talking about the global reach. Now we can reach as many customers as we can. Also, to help company diversify and attract more customers, it could explore video, games, and visual reality. So the streaming service such as a Disney Plus, a Showmax compete for viewers and subscriptions. So once the competition is entering into the market, that becomes a threat. The online piracy impacts Netflix. So that as well is going to affect our business. That piracy as well becomes a threat as it's going to affect our business negatively. As users can access a pirated content for free. So that is that. So now we have to move on to 4.4. We have to move on to 4.4. Question 4.4 now. Yeah, we are on 4.4. Advise business on the advantages of public company. Let's quickly go to it. Advantages of public company. So advantages of public company, the business has its own legal identity and can own assets and property. And it is as well managed by at least one competent and highly skilled director. So that is that the company is going to be managed by those people who are very competent to deliver for organization. So that is directors bring creative ideas which encourage innovation and high productivities. So the company is going to enjoy the more productivity as it is managed by highly competent director. Shareholders can sell or transfer their shares freely. That is an advantage. It can as well attract small investors as shares can be transferred freely and easily. Strict regulatory requirements protect what? The shareholders. It is easy to raise funds for growth through the sale of shares. Additional shares can be raised by issuing more shares or debentures. No limitation on the number of shareholders, so growth or expansion is not limited. Shareholders have limited liabilities for debt of the company, and shareholders may only lose the amount which they have invested. If the business go bankrupt, it means that the shareholders are protected, as it is what a limited liability company. The management of the company can improve since directors are accountable to shareholders. The public has access to the information, and this could motivate them to buy shares from the company. So any answers that are related to the advantages of public company are accepted. So now let us move on to 4.5. So here we are on 4.5, and 4.5 we are to elaborate on the meaning of creative thinking. We are to elaborate on the meaning of creative thinking. 4.5. So here we are on 4.5. Meaning of creative thinking. Creative thinking is the ability to think original, varied, as well as innovative ideas. So when we are coming up with those innovative ideas, that is what we mean. Creative thinking focuses on exploring ideas or generating a possibility or looking for many possible solutions. Thinking in a way that is unconventional and original. So that is the act of producing new ideas and making them really, as we are going to generate new ideas and be open to new ideas. And it is as well focusing on exploring ideas, generating possibility, and looking for many possible answers. So that is the meaning of creative thinking. So now we are to now differentiate between decision-making and problem solving. We are to differentiate now between decision-making and problem solving. 4.6. Decision making is the process of choosing from several alternatives. So we are going to have several alternatives. Then we are to choose the best solution out of those. That is a decision making. And remember that decision making can be done by one person. Can be done one person. But with problem solving is the process of finding solution to a problem, whereby now we can say a group of people can come up with different ideas. They are trying to come up with different ideas that can solve the problem. Decision-making, various alternatives are considered before deciding on the best one. So we have to look in detail to the given alternatives and try to find which one is going to be the best for us to solve the problem. But when it comes to problem solving, alternative solutions are identified and evaluated. That is done. Decision making is a part of problem solving process where a solution is chosen. But problem solving involves analyzing the problem, identifying what? The solutions. Also, the decision making are usually made by what, like I've said, it is made by one person, while problem solving involves a group or team. I've already said it. So now let us move on to another question, 4.74. So hold on, 4.7. Let us go to 4.7. 4.7, now we have to explain how business can use creative thinking to generate entrepreneurial opportunities. So now let us turn to it. 4.7. So here we are on 4.7. That is that. Okay, 4.7, explain how business can use what creative thinking to generate entrepreneurial opportunities. So they can do that by making sure that they're going to develop innovative solutions. They're going to do that by trying by all means to develop innovative solution, trying to brainstorming, and then as well as the ideation sessions, design thinking, prototyping, collaborating with diverse stakeholders. Also, they can do that by creating new products or services, whereby they're going to identify opportunities for product extension or diversification, developing new features or benefits. That is that. Also, they can enter new markets by identifying the emerging markets or trends. Also, they can improve now the processes, trying by all means to implement new technologies or the automation. So now let us move on to question 4.8. So 4.8 takes us to the scenario. Read the following and answer the questions that follow. So we have what? Linda's Fashion Factory. Linda's Fashion Factory offers top international and national brands in fashion wear, sportswear, luggages, accessories at the unbeatable prices. So Linda Fashion Factory realized that HIV and AIDS impacts both their clients and their workers, and decided that their business wants to be involved in CSR programs. So now we are to define what? Define the meaning of corporate social responsibility. So we know very well that the corporate social responsibility refers to business approach that balance economic, social, environmental responsibility, aiming to what? Aiming to economic responsibility to try to generate profits while ensuring what? The sustainability. That is that. Now let us come to question 4.82. Recommend initiatives that can be used to address HIV and AIDS as a socio-economic issue. So that is 4.82. So here we are on 4.82. initiatives that business can take to address HIV and AIDS. Counseling programs train counselors to provide affected and affected persons or employees. So you provide training or counseling. Develop counseling programs for infected and affected persons as well as employees. Business should conduct regular workshops, information sessions on the effects of HIV/AIDS on employees and their peers. Encourage employees to join HIV support groups. Participate in the HIV and prevention programs implemented in the community. So support non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations. So any relevant answer related to the above, it's acceptable. So that is the end of this presentation. Thank you very much for your time, and make sure that you're going to share with others. Thank you.